In a small remote village, the news struck like thunder. A couple had died from poisoning. They left behind a 6-year-old girl named Letitia. After the funeral, one of her aunts took custody of her. Soon after, the child was sent to the city to live with her uncle and aunt, her father's sister. At first, everything seemed fine. But when Letitia turned 8, her uncle's gaze began to change. At first, it was just inappropriate looks, lingering stares, and subtle touches. Then one day, he crossed an unforgivable line. What was meant to be a home became a prison. Day after day, Letitia suffered in silence. One day, she gathered the courage to tell her aunt, but instead of being believed, she was brutally beaten. That day, she understood one thing: her pain had no place in this world. She chose silence. 8 years passed. At 16, exhausted by the abuse, she ran away without telling anyone, without a destination, without hope. The city was no refuge. On the night of her escape, she lay down in front of a closed shop, hoping to get some rest. But 5 men noticed her. In the darkness, they approached and destroyed what remained of her innocence. By morning, there were only tears and a shattered heart. A few weeks later, she realized she was pregnant. Another unbearable pain. She wished to die. Life seemed to grant her wish. One morning, unbearable pain bent her over. She began bleeding heavily. A passerby rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. The fetus had died. A curettage was performed. Even though the child had been conceived in violence, Letitia mourned deeply, asking forgiveness from a being who had asked for nothing. Years went by. She still lived on the streets, surviving as best as she could, until one day she was hit by a car. She survived. The driver, Ivan, consumed by guilt, tried to help her. She refused everything, but he gently insisted, offering her only a meal. It was the beginning of change. Fate brought them together again. Little by little, Ivan got to know her, and she learned to smile. Again, they fell in love. After 2 years, they got married. Letitia thought she had finally found peace, but the past leaves invisible scars. 5 years passed, and she had no child. Whispers began. Then insults. Witch, barren woman, curse. Even Ivan began to change. He became distant, cold, until the day he announced he wanted a second wife. That wife turned out to be Letitia's best friend. The betrayal was complete. A year later, the new wife gave birth to a boy. But a few months later, the baby was found dead. And once again, Letitia was accused. Without proof, without defense, she was sentenced. 20 years in prison. 20 years of silence. When she was released, she had nothing left. No family, no love, no dignity in the eyes of the world. But she had survived. One day, while begging, she saved a man who had been in a car accident. This man refused to forget her. He searched for her, insisted, came back again and again, until she finally accepted his help. With the money he gave her, Letitia did not think of herself. She created a center to help the needy. Then one day, she collapsed. The diagnosis came: terminal cancer. 2 weeks to live. Instead of telling her, she was given days of light, walks, flowers, smiles. And for the first time, she was truly happy. One evening, her head resting on the shoulder of the man who loved her, Letitia quietly passed away, without a sound, but surrounded by love.